Hello students, here is Ashu Gupta, Assistant Professor. Welcomes you all on the behalf of the Indraprastha Law College, Greater Noida. In this lecture number 2 of International Law, we are going to discuss the meaning, scope and nature of international law. So now let's start this slide and we may see the definition of the international law. What is the meaning and the definition of the international law? You may see in this PPT slides wherein the international law denotes norms to regulate relations, transactions, and actions which transcend national boundaries. And in the contemporary state of world affairs, this branch of law has assumed immense practical importance. That's why international law, also called as a public international law, or already you know that law of nations also, which is coined by the Hugo Grotius, and the body of legal rules, norms, and standards that apply between sovereign states and other entities that are legally recognized as international actors. The term was coined by the international philosopher Jeremy Bentham, and international law is a set of rules generally regarded and accepted as binding in relations between states and between nations. As you already know that, and already we have discussed about that in the previous lectures, it serves as a framework for the practice of stable and organized international relations. And international law differs from state-based legal system in that it is primarily applicable to countries rather than to private citizens. When you are talking about the private citizens, that is the matter of the municipal laws also, which I've already discussed. The jurists are coming here and given his opinion about the meaning and the definition of the international law. In this situation, the first and the very famous jurist Oppenheim defined the international law in their wordings just like a law of nation, or international law is a name for the body of customary and conventional rules. It means that Oppenheim says that the international law is a part of the customary and conventional laws. That is an important definition, which are considered legally binding by civilized states in their intercourse with each other. Means that international law, since there is no basically you may see that this controversy is the most debatable question regarding international law. Because of that, there is a many jurists, and the scope of the thinking is different to each other. That's why every jurist has the separate definitions with the separate words about the international law. And in the words of Oppenheim, which is given into 1905, says that it is the body of the customary and conventional rules. Let us move on the next slide, wherein Stark defines the international law as that body of law which is composed for its greater part of the principles and rules of conduct, which states feel themselves bound to observe, and therefore do commonly observe in their relations with each other. And this includes the rules of law relating to the functioning of international institutions or organizations, and certain rules of law relating to individuals and non-state entities. Although this definition does not stand correct for all times to come, as and if an entity not enumerated under it ever comes within the scope of international law, with the passage of time, the definition would again be subjected to criticism. Then let's move on the next slide. Now, here is a definition of Dr. Schoenberg, who says that international law is the body of legal rules which apply between sovereign states and such other entities as have been granted international personality. That says that international law is a body of legal rules of sovereign states. That is the main important part of the definition. Let's move on the next slide. Here we can see that the scope of international law, that is an important thing in the international law to know about its scope. whereas the rules of international law must be distinguished from what is called international community or practices such as saluting the flags of foreign warships at sea, which are implemented solely through courtesy and are not regarded as legally binding. That's why scope of international in the scope of international law, you may see that public international law establishes the framework and the criteria for identifying states as the principal actors in the international legal system, and similarly concerned with the treatment of individuals in the state boundaries. There is a comprehensive design dealing with group rights, the treatment of aliens, the rights of refugees, international crimes, traditional problems, and human rights generally also in this modern era. Then let's move on the next slide. Now you may see the nature of the international law. What is the nature of international law? If we talk about the international nature of international law, there is a two views. First is the traditional, and the second one is modern view. Both the writers are having a different opinion about the international law, and in the traditional view, international law is composed solely of rules governing the relations between states only. That's why it restricts the domain of international law to the regulation of the conduct of states inter se. Those who hold traditional view are just like Oppenheim, Brierly, Hall is the main propounder of the traditional view. And however, the modern view says that international law is dynamic in nature. And Fenwick's definition of international law, of course, have a contemporary view about the international law. So that's why this modern view has been propounded by the Stark, Korovic, Whiteman, etc. Now let's see on the other side. If we talk about the nature of international law, the question arises that is it true law or not? This controversy is the most debatable question regarding international law. The popular belief is that international law is not a really law. Critics have argued that there can be no international law since there is no international legislature to make it, no international legislature to make it, no international executive to enforce it, and no judicial system, effective international judiciary to resolve dispute about it. That's why many of the jurists says that the international law is not a really law. In the view of the Austin regarded as one of the foremost critic of international law, who says that law is a command of sovereign. You also know that about the jurisprudence, the theory of the jurisprudence, wherein he interprets the command theory. That's why he says that law is a command of sovereign enforced by a superior political authority, violation of which attracts sanctions. And the three essential elements in the Austin's definition of law, namely command, sanction, or the sovereignty or the duty, is basically will be present for any law. That's why Austin points out that there is no sovereign political authority having legislative power as in his time, and the rules of international law were almost exclusively customary. That's why he holds his words and says that international law is not a true law but the positive international morality. He says the international law is a positive international morality and contemns the true law word in regard to the international law. Hope you enjoyed the whole session and clarify the meaning, nature, and the scope of the international law. We will meet in the next lecture. Thank you very much.